It's just a Fallout game with space graphics. I can't afford any new games. They keep going up in price. Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. And it's going up by a good £10 every year. Pretty soon it'll be just so out of the scope that even the gaming industry will only be for the rich. Is why I keep saying about the indie developers and the small game developers, the ones that keep putting out these games that they're just trying to learn, because we need extra companies in the space now to actually do a price war of some description and take away the autonomy and the monopoly from everybody else, especially the big studios. Well, I mean, I only got Starfield because my CPU broke, because I can't afford to buy new games. And then they gave Starfield away with the new CPU, because I had to buy another one because I got it from Amazon. And so yeah, I got the biggest version of Starfield for free, which is equally more of a damning review on it that I'm fed up because I got a free game that turned out to be garbage, in my opinion. I mean, I'm pretty sure once they've sorted out a few glaring bugs that it's got, it's going to be playable, and you'll probably enjoy the experience in there at some point, just not now. And if you go in there expecting it to be what Todd Howard actually said it was going to be, you're going to be disappointed, because that's not what the game is. It's basically Fallout in space, which to a lot of people is probably going to be like, oh, fantastic. And that's fine, but that's not what it was pegged to be. But anyway, let's not have another rant about Starfield. I think I made my feelings perfectly clear on that the other day in my last Paint by Numbers stream. So don't want to keep rehashing old ground. What's this? Paid DLC coming patches, new common practice, new sucks. Yeah, it does. Yeah, which then kind of makes it even worse when they turn around and say, "Oh, buy this game and you'll be able to play it 5 days early." No. It is buy this game so you can bug fix and report to us what's wrong with it. So, not only do we have to pay now, we don't have to pay game testers, right? We're going to charge you for the experience of doing it for us. And that's exactly what it is. Oh, look at this. 5 days earlier, these people that have gone on there and played it, we've got loads of these bugs now. We'll get them repaired for day one patch, so everyone else is going to have a good experience. Nah, that's not the way that works, I'm afraid. And I can guarantee you this much, it won't be working that way for me in future. Not that I have the money to be able to buy games, straight off the bat, but even if I did, I would probably hold back. It's like I want to get the new Liberty City DLC, and I do want to do that purely because I've wanted to do a playthrough of Cyberpunk from start to finish on stream, and then upload it to YouTube as well. So it was like, do I do it now on the current content and current the way it is, even though I've completed the game once already, or do I just do it on the new DLC? And it kind of makes sense to just do it on the new DLC. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. I miss the days when full games came on one disc and none of this disc. Yeah, exactly. Well, it was pitched to us all, like, oh, yeah, don't buy the disc, it'll bring down manufacturing costs, it'll bring down the price of games. Well, actually, what's happened is price of games are going up, but your manufacturing costs have now gone because you don't have to produce so many discs and CDs and whatever and pay postage. So what you've done is you've got your costs cheaper, but still charged us the same price as what we were paying before, except now we have to have really fast internet to be able to play anything and be on the internet all the time in your respective launchers to be able to play the game that we purchased. Then you have the other thing of well, actually, what else we're going to do is that yes, you've bought this game, but you don't actually physically own it because it's digital. And if we decide that we don't want to support that game anymore, we're just going to remove it from your account. You'll never be able to play it again. And thank you very much for your time. And it's like, yeah, I'm not really down with that, if I'm being completely honest. Or like Xbox and PlayStation, where you have to pay to... Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, it's all just a case of getting every penny out of you that they can. That is all it is. I'm sorry, but it just is. I feel like I do many of these chats on here, like moaning about how much stuff costs and whatever else, but the problem is that this thing isn't going to change until we stop buying stuff. You know, if we stop buying it, they couldn't sell it, and therefore we get the control back. But the problem is there are super rich people out there who can afford to buy it no matter what the price. So when we stop buying it, they're like, well, never mind, it wasn't really aimed for you anyway. Do you know what I mean? That's why I refused to go back to console, and the price of PlayStation just went up again. Yeah, exactly. Me and my boy, we used to share the top PlayStation Plus thing where you get all of their catalogue of games. And he come in and told me, and he said it's gone up by £40 a year. And then we both sort of looked at each other and just went, nah, not doing it. We'll just go with the basic thing so we can still use and play our PlayStations, and that's going to be it. I'm not bothering with it. Just not going to do it. It's at some point we have to say no, and I think we've just reached our point with that. It is insane, and what makes me laugh is, and I don't mean laughing ha ha, what makes me laugh is that businesses are at the moment are thriving something fierce. Big businesses, not small ones so much, right? Let me just quantify that. Big companies, corporations, they're getting record high, profits. British Gas, your electric companies, television companies, and whatever else, and yet people are getting poorer and poorer and poorer because there's all of this price hiking going on. And it's like, at some point somebody's got to listen and go, nah, we're not doing it no more. It's just not happening. And it's like I keep trying to say on here, and I probably should stop doing it because this isn't a political channel. It's just an old man's views on life. But we seem to have forgotten as a human race that we hold the power. We. Not I, not you, we. If we decide that we're not happy with something, we can make a change. So they aren't paying workers and they're laying people off. There's no ethical way to be a billionaire. Exactly. And yet we have quite a few of them. I don't know. Like I said, there's so many things I see wrong in this world, And there's probably a reason why I'm not a billionaire. A, because I'm not talented enough to be one, clever enough to be one. But probably the biggest thing of all is I couldn't sit back with $1 billion in my account and see so much suffering go on around me without wanting to do something or actually doing something about it. I just couldn't do it. Could not do it. I couldn't sleep at night with it. Because I actually have a conscience. And to think that, $1 billion, what that could do. And I'm not even talking about like using all of it. When you consider how much you would earn in interest off of $1 billion just in an ordinary banking account, right? The numbers are staggering. So even if you took that $1 billion and then just gave, not necessarily even give, but just like put that money to some good use for other people, you would never lose money because it's just the interest. Money you never had, money you never missed. That's your memorabilia collection habit. What do you mean that's my memorabilia collection? Oh, what, my hot toys and stuff. What I'm saying is, though, is if you've got $1 billion, you can pretty much buy whatever you want. And let's be honest, there's a crazy thing that happens in the world, right? And that is, if you've got so much money and you're so famous and important, people just give you stuff for free anyway. So what do you need money for at that point? I don't get it. I really don't get it. A celebrity can walk into a club and it's like, oh, drinks are free. Let's send them all of these things because if they wear them, we'll get more out of it. So they've got all of this money, yet they don't actually have a real need for it because they don't have to buy anything. I can't swing my head around it. I can't. It just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. Dude, if I ever won the lottery, I'd make sure I'm set and the kids up for the future, and I'd invest the rest just to give away so much money from profits. Yeah. Just to, and I mean, like now you're seeing people that are actually trying to feed the homeless and the people that are on the streets and stuff, and they're bloody well getting arrested for it. They're literally arresting people that are trying to help people that can't have no food, and they're feeding them. And it's like, what is actually happening in this world? I just don't understand it. I really don't. We could sit and argue about it all day long. We're never going to get to the bottom of it because, no one's going to admit the real truth behind stuff. If there is a real truth, maybe we've just got into this point now where everything's just so crazy. Nobody really knows what to do and everyone's just fumbling their way around in the dark. Problem is, though, is that with the people fumbling their way around in the dark, there's just a select few people that are getting incredibly rich from it. So take from that what you will. I guess. What's this? Sheer stupidity. The real truth is greed. Greed is what keeps things the way they are. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it is. And how do you change that? The answer is you just don't. You don't change it. Well, you do change it, actually. That's a lie. You can change it. But the change comes from us. Not I, not you, us. And the problem is that we've been so devoid of us for so long. We are so distrusting of us because of what we see on the TV and hear on the news and whatever else. Nobody really knows their neighbours anymore. You might know your next door neighbour or the one but down, but time was everybody knew everybody in the street. And you come out in the morning, you go, hey, buddy, how you doing, Alan? How you doing, John, Trevor? Whatever. Now it's like you know who you know and you keep your doors closed because everybody's so protective and worried these days. There's no community spirits anymore. And it's working because the less we talk to each other, the less we interact with each other, the weaker we are because we're alone. You know, the days of people running across the road to help a woman out who's screaming because a guy's hitting her are pretty much getting over and done with now. Because you don't know. You don't know the situation. You don't know if you're going to end up getting in trouble for it. You don't know if you're going to end up getting stabbed or whatever else. And we've gone into this like self-preservation thing. There's still a few people left that are chivalrous enough to step in and help, which is great, but they're very few and far between. You've got to understand, the only thing that's changing is what we watch on telly and what we're kind of told that's going on in the world. And when it comes to the point of where we're actually limited to how far we can go in the world, that brings down our overall knowledge even further. And that's a scarier thought than anything. The news' whole goal is to keep the general population separated so we can't team up against them for the actual problems. You know what women are taught? Don't scream. Yeah, exactly. Because no one will ever scream. Yeah, exactly. But and then the other side of it is from a male's perspective, we're so terrified these days that a woman's going to actually scream that, and then just because they want to do it for attention, because there's been a few people that have done it. You know, and I'm not just saying that's a completely male thing or female thing. You know, people these days seem to want to take up, I don't know, the mantle of wanting to be important, and then the real people that are actually suffering from this kind of stuff don't get listened to because it's been cried wolf so many times. Maybe I didn't explain that properly, because I'm not trying to say that all women do it, because they don't. But there are women out there that have used that to their own gain. Anything for their 5 minutes of fame. Yeah, exactly. It's a difficult subject to try and broach because, you know, I could be taken out of context, or, you know, it could be taken the wrong way. But I don't mean it in a negative way. Only to the people that use it for their own benefit rather than the experience actually happened to them. You know what I mean? It's a very difficult and fine line to try and get across, especially on a public platform like this. So it could be taken out of all kind of context. My belief is if someone screams that and it turns out to be false, they should go into, yes, they should absolutely go to jail for the exact term that the person that they cried it about would. Quite honestly, I do, because it just ruins it. Because there's no man out there that can turn around and say, oh, I was arrested for this. And then they go, oh, I'm totally innocent. You can't tell me that people don't look at that person in a different light. Because they're like, well, what did you do to be in that situation, dude? Because it's never happened to me. You know, it's like, okay. And then that person then has always sat back thinking to themselves, do they believe me? And their life's pretty much over at that point, which is ridiculous. There's so many different circumstances that can happen, and it's, you know, it's a shame that it actually even exists at all in this day and age. You know, there are people that you can go and see for certain activities, whether that be illegal or illegal. I'm sure the adults among us here know what I'm talking about, right? Why does that even have to be a thing? I just don't get it. To ruin someone's life just for your 5 minutes of gratification is just, yeah, it's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And just evil more than anything else. I still throw my support about bringing the public executions back. Well, yeah, I mean, it probably would stop a lot of it, to be honest. But then we live in this day and age now where there's so many loopholes, so many ways of getting around it. You know, that would people actually get there? And then you've got to look at the other side of the coin. What happens if somebody slips through the net that actually was innocent and didn't actually do it and they get hung for it? How do you justify that? I mean, most people turn around and say, well, you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs, but a human life is slightly more than a broken egg. You know what I mean? I honestly believe that the long-term prisoners that are never going to get out of prison, they should be set to work. They should be set to do something to actually, you know, make society better. and better themselves. Potentially. Oh, my back. Ow, 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 ow. How long have I been doing this for? Not actually that long. My back is killing me. I can barely sit forward. That's a bit of an issue. Because I wanted to do something today. I wanted to make a start on my YouTube thing. But I'm thinking what I might do is, because I haven't seen you guys in a while, and I haven't been streaming for a bit, I was thinking, instead of like following on doing like Starfield, which I'm not going to do, or playing one of the other games, I was actually thinking about Has Executed Too Many Innocent Lives. Yeah, yeah. See what I mean? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. We can't seem to reach a consensus. This is why we need governments. Like, be under no impression, I believe we need governments. It's just that I feel like we need a governing body that is completely and utterly transparent, so that nobody in the government can do a shady deal. And somebody that actually works for the public, not a government appointed one. One that we actually vote in, or make everything completely transparent and open so that people can see it. I'm not talking about defence stuff, because at the end of the day, I can understand the argument for not obviously putting down all of our military stuff. That, oh, this is here, this is there, this is what was spent on that, and whatever else. I mean, obviously, that should be a closed session where it could be, looked upon. But, everything else, it should just be public knowledge, completely public knowledge. And we should actually make it illegal, genuinely now, illegal for politicians to be able to not answer a straight question. Like when they go into an interview, or when they get taken to court or whatever else, and they're asking, and we're talking about specifically like the big courts, and then you go in there and they say, oh, Madam Speaker, I'm sorry, I don't have them facts and figures in front of me. I think I said this before, like, you knew you were going there, you knew that you were going to be quizzed about this particular thing, you should know what's going on, or take a team of people with you to turn around and say, okay, this is it. The only reason that you would do that is if you have something to hide. Public floggings. America's executed too many people. I mean, look at USA. We voted in a president, and look what they still do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're stuffed. Well, this is the problem. Like, I don't vote, which probably means to a lot of people that now my opinion shouldn't count for anything because I can't bother to vote. And they're probably thinking, well, you shouldn't even have a say about it because you're part of the problem because you didn't vote. Well, my argument to that is the reason why I didn't vote is because I don't want any of the people that are out for candidacy to be in, because I don't trust any of them. So why should I cast a vote on the lesser of two evils? Give me somebody to vote for that I actually believe in and that believe is going to work for us and not for themselves. Then I will get off my backside and I will go to the voting station and I will quite happily cast my vote for them to get in. But I'm not going to bother to vote for Curly, Merly and Mo, or whatever they are, the Three Stooges, which is Labour, Conservative and Liberal Democrats. I'm sorry, but it just is. Not one of them have got our best interests at heart. Each and every one of them say that they have, and yet time and time again through history, they have all come out to be self-serving, criminal acting twats. There you go. I've said it. None of them ever see the inside of a jail cell. None of them ever seem to really get recompense or anything, or comeuppance for what they do or what they've done. It's all like, today they've done this thing and it's been terrible. And then all of a sudden, a week later, it all goes away and no one hears anything about it again. And it's like, boom, pretty much you just got away with it. The guy that went into celebrity, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, in the jungle. Nick Clegg, it's not his name, I can't remember what his name was. The one who was the one who turned around and put in the COVID restrictions and stuff. And then completely went against them, cheated on his wife and whatever else. And it's like, and then he's in it, I'm a celebrity. And what makes it worse is the stupid people, and I'm sorry, the people are stupid that voted for him, right, that voted for him. He nearly won the bloody competition. This is the guy that was the reason why most people couldn't go to their funerals, their families' funerals, because they had to stay at home because of COVID. And yet, I'm sorry, I messed up. Oh, well, that's all right then. That's all right. Don't worry about it. I tell you what, here you go. You go in there, earn yourself a couple of $100,000 for doing it, and we'll make you famous, and everything will be all right afterwards. See, and I don't understand it. Yet the poor woman that's been working for next to nothing money, cash in hand, while she's claiming benefits so she can feed her kids, well, let's publicly flog that one. Let's take her benefits away and actually put her in prison for it. There's definitely a problem in this country. Right. That's my rant for the day.